Hi, I'm Anwiti Singh, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. In today's episode, we talk about a real-life, Bollywood-style cross-border romance and its eventual fate. We also talk about a parliamentary committee probe on 12 Rajya Sabha MPs. But first, we talk about George Soros. Last month, an investment firm called Hindenburg Research had made serious allegations of fraud and stock manipulation against the Adani Group. This has resulted in the shares of the company to fall sharply and has raised concerns in the minds of foreign investors. Now, last week, this controversy made headlines again when businessman and philanthropist George Soros remarked on this issue at a recent global security conference. In this speech, he talked about the allegations and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's silence on the issue. In this segment, my colleague Shashank Bhargava speaks to Indian Express's Udit Misra about these comments and what they mean for those looking to invest in India.
Udit, let's begin by talking about the man at the center of this controversy, George Soros. What can you tell our listeners about who he is?
So, George Soros is a 92-year-old investor. He's one of the wealthiest people on the planet. And he has come through a fairly hard background. He was born in Hungary, belongs to the Jewish community. And, during the whole Holocaust, he had to survive that. And he had actually had to leave Hungary, go to England, worked in London, studied there for a bit, and then left to New York. And there he actually made his name as an investor and became one of the richest people. And quite interestingly, he also, in his past, reportedly was a porter on a railway station. So that's quite interesting from an Indian perspective.
Right, because PM Modi also comes from a very humble background and was once a tea seller. But Udit, talking about Soros, what actually led him to become this wealthy?
Yeah, so he is known as an investor or a financier. He's known for taking very daring calls, very, very tough calls and bets. Let me elaborate this with an example from 1992, which is considered to be a remarkable case in his sort of a turning point in his career. When in 1992, he bet that the currency of UK, pound sterling, is overvalued. And he bet that that value, pound sterling, should fall. Just like, say, the rupee has been losing value to the dollar. So he bet that pound sterling will lose value. And he reportedly made $1 billion of profit because he predicted that and he bet on that, and that actually happened.
And would that be considered a form of what in finance is called short selling?
Exactly, that would. So he was short on the pound sterling, and he had reasons to be that way. Many others also believed that, but that the pound sterling was overvalued. But George Soros took the bet. He actually borrowed money and bet on that thing, and he made a killing, as it were. And it's not as if he's always got these bets right. In 1994, he bet that the dollar will strengthen against the Japanese yen, but that didn't happen. And he actually lost money. So there are many such cases where he's actually lost out on his investments because of his bets. But obviously he has made more money winning. And that's why he's one of the wealthiest people. But, there is another side to George Soros, apart from him being a brilliant trader or investor, is that he's somebody who's also known for his philanthropic work. And there he has very clear views about, democratic liberal setups and policies, because even in US, where he's now based, he has supported Democratic candidates like President Obama or Hillary Clinton, and opposed Republican candidates like George W. Bush. So he has always had this love-hate relationship on the political side because of his views on, say the political views or the views on a society.
Okay, so we have one of the world's richest man, an expert as far as the markets are concerned, and who leans towards a very definitive political side. Now, recently he was giving a speech at the Munich Security Conference, which is an annual conference on global security issues that is attended by senior politicians and military leaders around the world. And what he said in this speech has created a lot of controversy. So talk about what exactly did he say?
So I would like to just highlight a couple of paras which sort of have created a lot of controversy. So he said that, and I quote here, Modi and business tycoon Adani are close
Modi
allies.
and business tycoon Adani are close allies. Their fate is intertwined. Adani Enterprises tried to raise funds in the stock market but failed. Adani is accused of stock manipulation and his stock collapsed like a house of cards. Modi is silent on the subject, but he will have to answer questions from foreign investors and in Parliament.
So that's what he has said, which has created a lot of controversy and sort of extracted a very pungent reaction again from the Indian government.
Yes, in fact, Union Minister Smriti Irani said that this was a declaration to destroy India's democratic processes and that a war was being mounted against India. But Udit, when you heard these comments, what stood out to you about them?
Well, at one level, some of the things that he has said are fairly plain and obvious, and I don't think anybody would find that terribly odd. For example, it is well known that Prime Minister Modi and Mr. Adani are seen to be very close to each other, and that was frankly before Prime Minister became the Prime Minister or Mr. Adani became as rich as he has become. But he has also made certain points about, obviously, opinions where he has said that their fate is intertwined, which is to say that, if one goes down, then it will perhaps reflect poorly on the other person also. In this case, Mr. Adani's stock is falling and he has been accused of stock manipulation. And so it is very clear that he expects or he thinks that this will have political repercussions for Mr. Modi. But that's his opinion. And there is perhaps an inherent assumption here that in some way Mr. Modi might have helped Mr. Adani. But that's his impression. And there is nothing right now on the record to prove anything of that sort.
Right. And the other thing he said was that PM Modi was silent on this issue and that he'll have to answer to foreign investors. So could you talk about how concerned India should be at this time, when it is looking for foreign investments?
So this is not an opinion. Mr. Modi has been silent on the subject. So this is something that spooks foreign investors. And that is what Mr. Soros has said, that Mr. Modi will have to answer questions from foreign investors and in the parliament. What is important for listeners to understand is that, India is a capital scarce country. We need money to grow. And India has been receiving a lot of money from global investors. And this is something that is seen as a sign of confidence in India's future. And Mr. Modi's government has also sort of gone to town claiming this as a success, that we have been able to attract foreign investors. But with any such event, when foreign investors are investing in an economy, they also want certain amount of accountability. They want certain amount of transparency because, yes, they want better returns, but they also want to know exactly what is happening. And as we've seen, Hindenburg research made some very serious allegations, and the importance of that can be understood by the kind of fall that Adani stocks have taken and wiped out hundreds of billions of dollars of value. So, and on a daily basis, we see that happening even to stocks which are not actually Adani stocks. Even stocks which are remotely connected to Adani stocks are taking a beating. So that element is not an opinion, it's true. Foreign investors are concerned and they would have genuinely some questions.
Right. And one of the things that foreign investors look at is whether a country is politically stable or not. But the other really important thing is that whether there is fair play and things are working the way they are supposed to. There is no corruption going on. There are no scams going on. And with the Hindenburg allegations, this is what they're concerned about. But Udit, earlier you mentioned that India is a capital-starved country. So what importance do foreign investments have for a country like ours?
So, every economy to grow, it needs different factors of production. What are factors of production? Labor is a factor of production. Similarly, money or capital is a factor of production. And entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial ability is a factor of production. A land is a factor of production. For an economy to grow, it requires a combination of all these things. Now, obviously, we are the most populous country now. We are a big country. We have lots of land. And we obviously have lots of entrepreneurs, as we all know. What we lack is money. What we lack is capital, productive capacity. It is so crucial that we have all the other elements in remarkable quantity. But to unlock all of that, we need this one thing, which we do not have, which is, sort of a reflection of the fact that we are still a poor country. We had a long history of British colonial rule, and we lost a lot of that capital, which we typically, associate with India as one of the richest countries. So that is the importance. It can totally unlock India's potential. And that is where foreign money coming into India is so important. And the worry amongst investors is not just about Adani companies, but investors are also concerned about the larger issues of corporate governance in India. Because it is not just an Adani episode. What this is reflecting very poorly on corporate governance in India, how companies are run in India, and it also is reflecting poorly on the regulators in India. And that is where the issue of Mr. Modi not even tackling that issue when pointedly being asked makes it even more suspicious or raises even more, question marks in the minds of people who obviously do not know the country. They're not living here. They do not understand. And they are at a distance, and they are obviously more worried. And this is again not something new that we have heard. This criticism has been there for a while now.
And next, we talk about a cross-border love story. In the age of social media, finding love online is a fairly common phenomenon. But that's not the case when your love story involves Ludo, illegal immigration, and the very fraught India-Pakistan relations. This story, which seems something right out of a movie, is that of Ikra and Mulayam, who met in an online gaming chat room and then fell in love. But the problem was that Ikra was in Pakistan and Mulayam was in India. When we spoke to Indian Express's Kiran Parashar, he told us that Ikra is a 19-year-old student from the city of Hyderabad in the Sindh province of Pakistan, while Mulayam is a 24-year-old from Uttar Pradesh.
So he basically worked as a security guard with a private firm in Bengaluru. So how did Ikra Javani and Mulayam Singh Yadav meet? So that's an interesting topic altogether. So Ikra and Mulayam Singh Yadav met on a mobile application where they play Ludo game. So initially they were playing Ludo game and they met and they shared few conversations on the mobile application itself. So after some 2 or 3 months, this happened in 2019. So after some 2 or 3 months, they shared their contact numbers as well. So once they shared their contact numbers, they started to share about their lives, and they shared about their plans, and both of them fell in love. So this love story or this love of both continued for the next 2.5 years. Until that, one day Mulayam Singh Yadav decided that he would bring Ikra to India and marry her.
Okay, so Kiran, how did they decide to go about doing that, considering that they were living in two different countries?
So this was in September 2022. Mulayam Singh Yadav booked a flight ticket for Ikra and made her to enter Nepal. So he went to Nepal to receive her. So in Nepal, what they did was they got married. So soon after they met, they got married in Nepal, and they returned to India in a bus, and they went to Lucknow. Though his family denies that they came to their village, sources in the police say that they went to their hometown and Mulayam Singh Yadav introduced Ikra as Riya Yadav, and he said that she was a Hindu girl. So after that, Ikra and Mulayam Singh both returned back to Bangalore, and Mulayam Singh continued to work wherever he worked as a security guard.
And did Ikra's family know all of this was happening?
So basically, when Ikra entered India, she did not inform her parents. What she did was she just left her home and reached India. At the same time, according to the police sources, a missing complaint was filed in Pakistan by the family members of Ikra as well. But nobody had an idea that she had fled to Nepal and she had come down to India. So they thought that she might be missing somewhere in the same area. But later they came to know that she had come down to India.
Okay, so back in India, they are in Bangalore, living happily but also illegally. So how did the authorities and others find out about them?
So the couple were having a happy life here, and even Ikra became a 2-month pregnant. But the doctors had to finally ask her to abort the baby because of the bad health conditions of the child. So then she got aborted. But the point is, like, when Ikra was in Bangalore, according to the police sources, she started calling to her parents through WhatsApp and introduced Mulayam Singh Yadav as Samir to her parents. So she said that she had married a Muslim guy whose name is Samir, and she said that she was living in India. At the same time, Mulayam Singh Yadav had introduced Ikra as Riya Yadav to her family members and had said that she was a Hindu. So both of them had showcased that they were of a different religion with in-laws. So according to the police sources, as G20 summit and Aero India and many of the important events were scheduled in Bangalore, the Central Intelligence and other departments were also monitoring the calls and network of public making calls and everything. And they found out that several calls were made to Pakistan. So first they initiated a low-level probe where they found out that this person was not from India, and the same message was passed to the state intelligence. State intelligence officials in coordination with Belandur police managed to arrest Mulayam Singh Yadav and Ikra. And during the investigation, they found out that Mulayam Singh Yadav had used his own Aadhaar card to get a new identity for Ikra as Riya Yadav. So he had changed the name and the photo from the Aadhaar card and had forged another Aadhaar card. So this is how they got caught.
Right. And when this story came out, how did the families react? And do we know whether they were against this relationship or not?
So basically, when all these things came out, though we are yet to know how Ikra's family has reacted back in Pakistan, the family of Mulayam Singh Yadav have said that because they say that they have met her, so they say that they are very happy with Riya Yadav alias Ikra, and they say that at any chance they want to have Ikra with them. And they have been pleading that Ikra and Mulayam Singh should be sent to UP and she should not be sent to Pakistan back. So most of the people initially did not know that, like, all the family members of Mulayam Singh Yadav also did not know that she was a Pakistani national. But now they have come to know that she is from Pakistan. But however, they say that anyhow she is an India's daughter-in-law now. So they want Ikra Yadav to stay in India and with Mulayam Singh Yadav. So these people are from Maksudan village, which is near Prayagraj. So this is like 1,500 kilometers away from Bangalore as well. So the family members want the Ikra Yadav to be reunited with Mulayam Singh.
I mean, seems like a very unique case for our country where, interfaith marriages and relationships are still very uncommon. And here is a case that even involves someone from Pakistan. So a lot of positive things as far as at least Mulayam's family is concerned. But what happened to the couple after this? Where are they now?
So on Sunday, Ikra was sent back to Pakistan. She was deported to Pakistan. And at the same time, Mulayam Singh Yadav, who was arrested in January, was produced before the local court and is presently in judicial custody. He had applied for a bail. The court has rejected it after the prosecution said that there is a lot of investigation that needs to be done in case of Mulayam Singh, where they cited that it is also a matter of a threat to national security. So his bail got rejected. At the same time, Ikra was deported to Pakistan on Sunday night. She was handed over to immigration officials in India-Pakistan border, and the officials from Bangalore had went to hand over to complete the process. However, Ikra did not want to go back to Pakistan. She pleaded with police asking that she would want to continue or she would want to be with her husband here in India. According to a police officer, she also shared the contact numbers of her parents and everything, and requested them to reach it out to Mulayam Singh Yadav so that once he comes out of the prison, he can call her back.
Okay, and what exactly are the charges that have been filed against Mulayam?
So Mulayam Singh presently faces charges of forgery, and also he is booked under Section 7(2) of Foreigners Act. And other than that, under Indian Penal Code, he has been charged with cheating, forgery, and other things.
And what about Ikra?
So when Ikra was arrested by the police, the first step that they did was to check whether there was any terror angle, or was she somebody who was sent to snoop in or to gather information, all these things. So the police officials who investigated the case that found out that she had no terror links or anything. It was just a pure love story. So then they did not press any charges on Ikra, so that it helped police to legally fasten the deportation process of Ikra.
And their story sounds almost like a romance novel, a Bollywood movie romance. But those love stories usually have a happy ending. Can that happen for this couple?
So this is no less than a movie script. Even the police officials who handed over to immigration officials and people who were part of the investigation were also felt bad, as they found that there was nothing but a love story between the couple, and they were very happy, is what the police say. And also the only crime that the woman has done is she has entered India illegally. Other than that, they did not find any other criminal activity or anything into that. And on both sides, like Ikra and Mulayam Singh Yadav, both have been pleading for the police to allow them to meet each other or allow them to at least talk over phone and all these things. I asked the police officer, like, why did she come to India without getting any legal help or legal way? So that he said that this is again to prove that love is blind. And at the same time, they didn't think much about all those things or the repercussions of it. But still, like, we have to abide by law and order. We feel sorry for them, but still we have to follow the law of the land. And I was also speaking to one of the lawyers. I was checking that whether is there any chance that Ikra can come back to India. So a Bangalore-based lawyer named Sahana Baswapatna, according to her opinion, there is a chance of deported nationals to return back to India legally, but it will all depend on the visa if she applies for. If you see the FIR, she has not been named as accused or victim. So she says that it will not be easy for Ikra once she goes back to Pakistan. She will have to apply for a visa to enter India, and her application will be scrutinized. If she intends to get a visa on the grounds that she is married to an Indian citizen, her marriage with Mulayam Singh has to be scrutinized. And when it comes to, in terms of like Pakistan and India, the authorities will be super alert than in any other cases. This is what one of the lawyers told me. So it won't be a very easy way for Ikra to return back, but she can definitely give a try.
And in the end, we talk about a parliamentary committee probe into 12 Rajya Sabha members. 12 Rajya Sabha MPs from the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party are going to face the scrutiny of a parliamentary committee for breach of privilege, based on their actions inside the House during the budget session. Now, to understand this better, we need to look at what happened on the 14th of February. On that day, Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar announced that the House was adjourned till March. Dhankar had said he was forced to adjourn the proceedings due to persistent and deliberate disruptions. These disruptions came from the repeated sloganeering by the opposition and their consistent demand for a joint parliamentary committee probe into the allegations against businessman Gautam Adani. The MPs even reached the well of the House, despite repeated requests from Dhankar to maintain order.
आदरणीय सभापति जी, ये भी दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, इतने महत्वपूर्ण सदन में कुछ लोगों का व्यवहार, कुछ लोगों की वाणी न सिर्फ सदन.
And while a joint parliamentary committee on the Adani issue has not been set up yet, Dhankar has asked another panel to look into a different issue entirely. This parliamentary committee has been asked to investigate 9 members from the Congress and 3 members from the Aam Aadmi Party. The Rajya Sabha bulletin says that these 12 MPs violated the, quote, rules and etiquettes of Rajya Sabha by repeatedly entering the well of the council, shouting slogans and persistently and willfully obstructing the proceedings of the council, compelling the chair to repeatedly adjourn the sittings of the council, unquote. As for Aam Aadmi Party MP Sanjay Singh, an additional note has been added, claiming he submitted identical notices under Rule 267, seeking suspension of all business to take up a discussion on the Adani affair, ignoring the directions of the chair. Meanwhile, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, who is not a part of this list, has been in a standoff with Dhankar for the past few sessions. Kharge, who along with Rahul Gandhi and other Congress members had spoken about Gautam Adani and his alleged links with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, had his remarks expunged from the proceedings. Kharge later wrote to the Vice President, arguing that criticism of the government, its policies and their impact cannot be equated with the dignity of the House. You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was hosted by me, Anwiti Singh. It was written and produced by me with the help of Shashank Bhargava. It was edited and mixed by Abhishek Kumar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone who you think will like it and share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcast@indianexpress.com.